Kathleen Karasi, myself, Eric Shimalonis, and Town Administrator Marie Ryan. First on the agenda is to approve minutes from August 23rd, 2021. Have we all been able to review and approve those minutes?
Yep.
Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd.
I second.
Roll call vote. Kathleen?
Aye.
Roger?
Aye.
And Eric's and I. Thank you very much. On to Town Administrator updates. Marie?
Okay, the update that I'm going to talk about tonight is about the shared HR person. As you know, last week, I think it was last week, we had interviews. We had 4 people lined up for interviews. 2 people canceled that day and the last person didn't show up. So, we upped the salary and we advertised again. And we got some much better qualified applicants this time. And on the 21st of September, we're going to be doing interviews that afternoon. So, and it doesn't close until the 15th of September. So we still may get some more, but we have some much better quality for our purpose applicants this time. So I will keep you updated with that as we go. That's really the main update I wanted to give you. Did anybody have any questions about anything else or?
Hey, Marie, why don't you remind people which towns are participating?
Yeah, so that's Monterey, New Marlboro, Sheffield, Great Barrington, and West Stockbridge.
And our share of that, and it's a 40-hour week they're trying to put together, I believe.
It's and our share would just be 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
So we'll be paying accordingly of how many hours we have the person. So we will be paying the least.
Right, and there's a grant.
Yep, there's a grant that is paid, that we applied for, that we received, that will pay for the salary and benefits for the first year.
Okay, and that was a joint grant, or is that a Great Barrington grant?
It's a joint grant. We did it all together.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Sorry, Eric, there's one thing I just wanted to tell you. Steve is going to go before Kurt because Steve has another meeting at 6:30. So if that's okay with the board, we'd like Steve to go first.
No, I don't want that.
Let's go ahead and do that. Steve, go right ahead.
Steve, you're on mute.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, you want to update of the fire department? We had hose testing,
Yes, please.
of course, like everything else in this country. They didn't have enough help to do the ladders or the suction hose, so they're going to come back and do that sometime this month, hopefully. The hydrants, Kurt's had parts on order for Cobb Road for some time now. Half of it came in, the other half, who knows what that is, and we're going to plan on sometime this month or October. We have 3 hydrants we got to dig up state line, up by 96 West Center Road, and the one on Main Street. And maintenance starts next week. Or this week it starts in Richmond, and hopefully next week they'll be doing the maintenance on all the fire trucks. Other than that, we haven't hired anybody else because, as you know, nobody wants to work, never mind volunteer for anything. That's about it. The fire car's been ordered for 4 months, and God knows we probably won't even see one the way we're going.
What was that, Steve? Fire what?
The new chief's car has been ordered since March, but good luck in even seeing one.
Okay. Which hydrant on Main Street?
One by Stoney, the realtors.
Okay. The one that's historically not worked very often?
Yeah, it never worked very well. We got an idea what to do to it. It's just a matter of getting in the water, and the water's been so high, you can't do anything right now anyways.
Okay.
And the other two hydrants, what we're gonna do is bring our tanker down and flush them out so we can see where the pipes are and dig those out.
All right.
And that's about it. Everything been good so far. We had a fire alarm at the Rouge the other night, and I couldn't get a hold of Maggie, but I told her she should have a key holder or put a key so we can get in. And we'll correct that problem.
Thank you. Any further questions from Kathleen or Roger?
Nope.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, have a good night.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Mr. Wilton, please take the torch.
Or unmuted, we're good?
Yep.
That was short of, kind of a short little thing for Chief Tripp. You sound a little grumpy, so we had to move him along. So, thanks for having me. This is a monthly report. Actually, it's probably a 6-month report. So, it's been a while, but, for reasons we understand. Been a busy summer for you folks. Briefly, I'll try to be brief. I got my 2 pages and I don't have a follow along for you. So I'll just hit some, pretty quick, all written down, but I'll send you these actually, but my fault for not sending them previously or beforehand so you can follow along. But I want to tell you about a few, current highway projects. The first one, being completed that we didn't have much to do with, but your love letter to the Mass Highway about the sidewalk going to the Card Pond, the recreational area. That was all developed and talked about when we started doing the Winter Shared Street 2.0 grant. As you know, the town itself was denied the grant and funding, but Mass Highway stuck to their promise and they redid that whole sidewalk area. So it didn't cost the town anything. It wasn't labored by town employees. It was done 100% through MassDOT and MassDOT funding. So I applaud them for sticking to the promise and getting that done. It's a huge upgrade for the town and that little piece of connection that we really do need. And I know a lot of people actually use that sidewalk now. So it's kind of a good thing, good news story. I would recommend maybe the board drafting a quick letter to Francesca Hemming. She's a district director. Just with a thank you note and much appreciated assistance from MassDOT folks, because I know MassDOT's always being beat up and badmouthed for their lack of participation with local towns, but they've been very welcoming and committed to helping at least West Stockbridge. So I think that would be an honor. That would be a great gratitude to MassDOT. Just a simple letter. Also, on some unfinished business we want to take care of. So back in, was way back in the 22nd of June, 2020, where we allocated $11,500 for a partnership with MassDOT to screen the Stockbridge Road / Route 102 solar array. Well, we didn't forget about that. We had some COVID excuses from the tree contractor, but they reassured me they're about ready to go. So we'll see some screenings of some dark American arborvitae trees, a total of 38 of them. They'll be being planted alongside that solar array on 102. They'll start off at 5 to 6 foot and they'll grow together as a hedge. And we'll make sure that the height of those don't get too tall where they're going to start getting into the phone wires. Again, another Mass Highway help and aid in this. We will supply the plantings and the cost of the trees, but it was a together partnership that's Eric and Roger both, you can attest, it's been a long-awaited project, but it's coming to an end. We'll see it hopefully within the next few weeks. Good news there. We're going to talk briefly about, I solicited months ago some, we're looking for a feasibility study on the Moscow, Harris Street, whatever you want to call it, extension or another piece of the pie, so to speak. I got back one solicitation from an engineering service, and I solicited 3, by the way, 3 engineering firms. And they'll be submitting to us a document of what their services can provide, how they work for the town of West Stockbridge, what they can do for the town of West Stockbridge. And once we get them all, within the next few weeks, we should be able to sit down and really pick a firm to help us. And I kind of like the intro to one of them. It says, the town would like a thorough analysis of the Harris Street, Moscow Road area and develop a conceptual alternative to improve public access in that area. We will help compile existing conditions, plans. We would garner town and public input through work sessions and public meetings and develop a construction cost for alternatives. This work will ultimately accumulate into a final recommendation for the Harris Street improvements. So back on our suggestion recommendation months ago, we're not forgetting about this. So once that comes in next month or so, we can actually work on this and maybe hire one of these firms to really help us along the way and get the whole input, the whole town input on what we want to do. Things are changing a little bit down there. So we'll see what we can do to make things better. So these are improvements with a lot of town input and a lot of ideas. So we'll let the professionals handle it, and we'll just sit there and feed information and have discussion about it when that's ready. So I'm just waiting for, I did get promises from the last two engineering firms, and they still said they want to submit a proposal. So that's how that process will work. Once I get the other two, if I don't get them, we'll just look at the first one we have, and that's been submitted on time. So there was a time frame on this. I had August 15th to be the deadline on there, so we have been working on it, but we missed that deadline on two of them. They had a pretty good excuse, so I gave them a little extension on that deadline. So we'll be seeing that here within the next few weeks, if not within the next month. All right, that being said, we're going to move on. Today, we actually opened up bids for the big paving project, which is a fall paving project for the Cobb Road, East Alford Road, asphalt resurfacing. Very happy with what we saw this morning. We had some pretty good bids. We had 5 bidders, all big time contractors who are professional paving outfitters. Really close. The estimated on this job is $365,000. The low bid was $67.39 per ton in place. The next lowest bidder was $67.96. That's a 57-cent difference between the winner and the loser. Of the $365,000 estimate, that's a difference of $2,850. So that's some real sharpened pencil type bidding. So I was really happy with that. Next step, that would be to crunch the numbers. This project will be funded through Chapter 90 state aid balance of $182,297. So available in Chapter 90 account is $182,297. We had asked town meeting not to exceed borrowing of $294,000. I don't want to hang myself yet, but we're going to be well below that borrowing figure. So that's good news. So Karen and I, the town treasurer, will sit down and do an estimate of what I feel should be borrowed to keep this project within budget. But it definitely will not be $294,000. It'll be well under that. So that's good. So I'll keep you guys informed on when that'll happen. At the same time tonight, I would like to move the process along. I did go through all the paperwork and the documents. Everything is in order. LB Corp was the low bidder this morning. And I would love to have I would recommend that the select board would actually approve and vote to accept the low bidder of LB Corp. And then we can send a letter to them awarding them the contract, and then we can get started on the schedule. So if that's something the board would like to consider, a motion would be, in order, and then we can maybe vote on getting a low bidder of LB Corp at $67.39 a ton to start the project in Cobb Road. Okay, so you guys want to do that now briefly while we're still on that subject?
Could I just ask, I just want to make sure, Marie, that we don't need a more specific agenda item for the approval of a bid beyond just having Kurt on the agenda?
Technically, you have to accept the lowest bid anyway. So this is really just a formality to continue with it. If you want to wait till your next meeting, that's fine, whatever you're more comfortable with.
Board, do you feel okay about going through the formality?
Tonight?
Yes.
No, I would be okay. Kathleen?
I'm fine with that.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from LB Corp for $67.39 per ton for the Cobb Road paving project.
Second.
Roll call vote, Roger,
Aye.
Kathleen,
Aye.
and Erickson, aye.
All right, thank you. I'll start the award process. Much appreciated. I'm going to quickly talk about a personnel update with the highway department. We have a young man who's been working with the town for 4 years now, 5 years. Zachary, he's our youngest member and newest member. And he wanted to bring it to our attention. He's actually enrolled back into college. The boy is seeking his computer science degree, which started previously for the town. And this is going to be mostly nights and online courses, but he's actually going to be missing a Wednesday this semester. The semester starts next week and it'll end around Thanksgiving. So he wanted to be aware and make me aware, and now I'm making you folks aware that Zach LeVex will be attending school, night classes to further his education, pursuing his degree in computer science, but he's willing to not use his week's vacation that he's offered for the town and break those weeks up to single days so he can go through this. I don't have a problem with it. The kid has much vacation time to use, so rather than take his weeks off, you know, when he's allowed them, he wants to break those weeks down to single days. And he needs 16 days, and the kid has 4 weeks vacation. So he has 4 weeks, which is 20 vacation days. So I talked to Zach and I told him I would ask the board. I personally don't have a problem with him doing this, just for the simple fact of what his intention and his goals are. It's up to you folks. He will be readily available for the winter storms and plowing, but he will be here every other day. He is going to try to work with his professors and see if he can take that Wednesday and break it down to a more doable. So he physically is at work rather than having to go to the, currently he's scheduled to go right to the school itself. So feelings on that, what do you think? I really don't want the kid to quit, to lose work, you know, for the next 15 weeks. Is that a topic of another discussion, or is that something that's an update? So I don't know, any thought on that?
I mean, 1 day a week is better than being without one of your necessary good crew members for any longer period of time. If that's a policy change that we need to approve, let's discuss it real quick. Any thoughts, Roger?
Honestly, I don't see the board having much of a role in this decision. I mean, Kurt's the director of the function, and you know, unless there's some arcane rule that I don't know about, I would think that he could make that decision on his own and just post us that, as he just did. But I don't see us needing to do thumbs up, thumbs down on a decision of a department head.
Thoughts, Kathleen?
Yeah, I agree with Roger, but also for the record, I'd say that it is Kurt's decision, and if he feels that the department isn't suffering, then, I support him in his efforts to further his education.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah.
Both for function and for the cause, Kurt. I mean, I think you have the informal approval of the board if it is indeed a town policy change on any level. But that seems like a really good use of vacation time.
Yeah.
All right, much appreciated. I'm gonna be taking advantage of those computer science skills that he should acquire.
We may all.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for that. I just want to, like I said, it was an update, bring it up to speed on what was happening. So you guys are aware of what's happening with the folks. I want to back up when we talk about trees quickly, and Kathleen and I are both in this loop. The 13 trees that are around the pump station near the post office on Moscow Road. So those trees, just to give you an update on what's happening with them. A lot of people are asking, hey, they're going to die. What's going on? So Kathleen and I are working. Those trees were actually purchased through the Shared Street Grant. Seems way back when, but it was only a year ago. And they were purchased in anticipation of possibly the Winter Shared Street being awarded, because we had some pretty good plans when that grant was submitted to utilize some purchased equipment, if you will, or plantings. And we were planning on doing a much better screening of the pump station, lift station, the fence, the barbed wire that you see. So after with that, the trees were bought. We can use them anywhere we want in town as screening and as designed. Unfortunately, we were not able to obtain the grant that we had big plans for. We had a sketch from Gregorio from Turnpark. We have seek their help and their aid in this. And that's put on the back burner for a bit, but Kathleen has got a hold of the people and the proper people to get this thing up and running again. So it is our hope. Kathleen will back me up on this. Within the next week or so, we're going to have a meeting and see if we can get this back into the forefront of what we really want to do with those trees and get the screening in that area up to speed. So that's where we are with that. We don't know cost back to the board with what we are deciding to do with that, because there will be a cost. And once we get that cost, we'll let everybody know about it, and we'll try to seek funding elsewhere or other ways. But there was a pretty good idea how to fund that, how to make it look beautiful and work for everybody. But unfortunately, when that Winter Streets 2.0 was denied, we lost it there. So that's why that's been on hold, been on a stall. But yeah, there are trees. Nobody's dead yet. They're all still being generously watered by Mother Nature, and they're still good. So that's where we stand on that. So we'll see things happening again within the next few weeks. That's our hope. So just an update on that. I know people are asking about what's going on with those trees. So that's some highway projects. We're going to talk briefly town buildings. I've got another personnel update on town buildings. I want to personally thank Wayne Cooper for all his years that he contributed to keeping our facilities clean and safe, especially through COVID with the disinfection and all the new laws and regulations on how to swab down and make those buildings safe. Because he was actually the driving force of the building, so we could still work in it with his disinfectant and his cleaning skills. We did hire a new individual. So Wayne's still working for us, but he's kind of semi-retired now. So he did away with his 7 days a week going to the town hall and cleaning it every day. The guy needed a well-deserved rest. So we did hire an individual, Frank Alfonso. He started on the 16th of August. He's been an asset. He kind of fit right in. He's a friendly, characteristic guy. Had a little bad luck first 2 weeks, just with his family. He was having some trouble with his family, his mom, and both his brother died consecutive weeks in a row. So that's kind of unheard of. So last week was his third week he worked and no death. So we kind of joked about that for a bit. The kid's got a sense of humor, and so he's happy to get through that third week without any family trauma, so to speak. But you'll see him around. We'll get some introductions for him. He's going to be a great asset to our workforce in the building and grounds division. Cemeteries, let's quickly touch on cemeteries. Very active commission, very proud of them, what they've been doing. So, we're focusing on tree work. This year's tree work, which is removal of large worn out trees, will be down at the Rockdale Cemetery. Once we start that, the work, they're always working on monuments and gravestones, getting them back up in force. But we had a few small, complaints about some of the mowing. But all in all, it's the guy up there is doing a great job, fantastic job. There's more positive feedback of what the cemeteries look like and how well they are compared to years past. So I take the good with the bad. There's more positive, negative, and when there's a negative complaint, we address that right away and let everybody know involved who needs to step up and do a better job. So cemeteries are working nice. Like they say, people are just dying to get in. Good joke. I asked about the town compactor, solid waste transfer. I'm in the process of working with a contractor to help facilitate the completion of our bottles and cans compactor unit. We've had some issues with it. We finally got the right people involved, and we're working on getting the final stages set to have that unit working like we designed it to work and to be efficient as it is supposed to be. So there was some plumbing involved. We did the welding. We kind of reinvented the wheel down there, but we're going in the right direction. So within a month, hopefully by my next update, we'll have a really nice compactor unit where you just push the button, things are crushed up there nicely, and we won't be paying rent on equipment down there anymore, and we should be able to get things off and running down there. We're still on schedule to pave the whole area, and I've been promised, again, it's the second year, but I've been promised that will be done before the season-ending paving season, which is early November. So that's going to be a complete paving project from Day Farm Road beginning at Route 41, and it'll be the whole loop and all the area surrounding it. So looking forward to the brand new smooth blacktop down there at the compactor for us. So that being said, I think I'll end it. Any questions for me or any ideas? What did I miss?
That was all great. Thanks, Kurt. I just want to comment on the feasibility studies for Harris Street. Despite progress on permits and things, I think it's important that we continue the conversation.
Sure.
The planning board has made clear that proper grid downtown is something definitely worth pursuing. The problems created by the closure of the Harris Street Bridge back in the 90s are something that we still need to properly remedy. That said, if we can not pay for the feasibility study out of taxpayer funds, but fund that by a grant, and I say that because I know from experience in master planning so far that the state, through its various funding sources, is generally very much in support of good planning, especially as it relates to streets and access. So in the meantime, I'm going to set aside some time and see if I can pursue some funding for such a thing, possibly under the umbrella of the master plan process, reaching out to the Community Compact, the Complete Streets grant program, which is sort of the permanent grant program, the cousin of the Winter Streets and those grants. And also potentially the Berkshire Regional Planning Technical Assistance grants, which could give us some further expert advice. But if we can pursue that and continue that conversation and have funding from other sources, I think that would serve the town. So let's keep talking about that all together. If anybody has any ideas of other funding sources or ways to push this project forward without spending any money, please get in touch.
I agree, Eric. Let's keep going on this.
Anything else from, I'll invite Kathleen. Any questions or comments? Roger.
Just a quick one, Kurt. What's the DPW role in the planning of those arborvitaes?
The role in that will be, we'll have to watch, maintain them. One thing they're going to require, when you first get in the ground, they're going to require some watering. We're set up to water them, so we'll swing up. We got a big tanker. We got a 525 gallon tank unit. I'm sorry, 5,200 gallons. Pretty good size. And we'll be watering them. The Peerless Tree is a contractor we selected, and they're going to give me a little maintenance on, care for these trees in the first month before we put them to bed for winter. And then we'll have to watch them. The only thing we have with the state is just watch the height. The state does not want to see those trees over 12 feet tall. Like I said, they're 5 feet now. I don't know how fast trees grow, but to grow 7 feet, I probably won't be even in charge when that happens. So just make sure that's in writing somewhere that that someone has to watch that, because it's about the elevation of the wires.
Okay, so you guys aren't doing the actual planting.
No, we hired Peerless Tree Company. They're going to plant them, fertilize them, put them in the ground, stake them for us.
Okay. That was my only question.
And just that one other piece of business, board, I'll volunteer to write a draft of a letter for Francesca Hemming at Mass DOT of thanks. It'd be nice if it had all of our signatures. So I'll work through that with Marie. We'll make up a draft and figure out a way to get it signed by all of us on letterhead.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Kurt.
Okay, thank you.
On to Chief Portieri.
Good evening, everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, first of all, good evening, and one of the main things going on in the police world is this police reform, the Bridge Academy. As for the reform and the Bridge Academy, there's been nothing new since, we spoke last time. I've been to 4 meetings in the last 2 weeks via Zoom and in person. And they're pushing a physical fitness part of the Bridge Academy and a medical part of it. As soon as they make a determination on that, then I think things will start going forward more. So as it's starting for July 1st, of course, it probably looking like January 1st. So we're just waiting on some stuff on that, but they're gonna push the physical fitness now, which will probably weed out a lot of people. So that'll be a good thing. At least we know, the people that we have, as long as they pass it, they're good to go. In the police department, we got a lot of training coming up this month. We have night firing for the firearms and daytime qualifying both. They're going to be instructed by Officer Horn, who's a certified instructor for firearms. Firearms consists of our pistol, our shotguns, and our AR weapons, our rifles. Really, you only got to qualify once a year, but Lucas he's over the top, so we do it 3 times a year. And along with that, we do taser, building searches, and other things Lucas brings to the table. So school's opening now. We've been moving our radar trailer around. We're out at 7 now in the morning. If we don't have anybody on overnight, somebody's out at 7 following the buses. We the first couple of days we got some complaints of people passing the buses, but since we've been out at 7 following the buses, things have been good. We have a bunch of restock for PPE supplies. I just got a feeling that, it's going to come down the road that here pretty soon that we're probably all going to be masked up again. So I reached out and I got some more PPE supplies for the fire department and the police department. So we should be in good shape there. I just did a quick thing today from July. So our current day, to today, we had 2 OUIs, 911 calls, open and abandoned calls, which open 911, somebody dialed 911 and stayed on the line, and then they abandoned it. We've had 51 of those lately. Motor vehicle citations, DMVs, we're at 58. That doesn't include the verbal warnings, which with everything that's been going on with COVID, you know, and parking complaints, we started trying to do an educational thing, slow down, you know. So that doesn't, you know, that doesn't relate, the 58 doesn't relate to the verbal warnings. We've had 20 motor vehicle crashes from June to now. We've had 6 B&Es, 6 domestics. Medical calls were at 30. Fire-related calls, fire alarms, or that could have been, you know, outdoor fires. We're at 35. We've had 11 well-being checks. Also in the medical calls, that's any kind of mental health issues. They all go into one category. You can add one for that we just had today at 4:00. So 31 there. We've issued 30 parking tickets. Suspicious activity, we've had 22 suspicious activity calls. Suspicious person, we've had 10 of those. Mutual aid, we're at 15. Criminal investigations, we're at 15, which some of these investigations are going to lead to a criminal complaint in court with charges. So far to date, with the administrative fees on our police details, we've put 4,600 back into the general fund for the town. Last year, for the whole fiscal year, we put another $21,830 into the general fund. So that's just pretty much the update. I'm sure there's a lot of questions where, we're at the stage of, I'm a community policing guy, so we're trying to do education, but when people don't try to follow your education, then we start writing tickets. And unfortunately, down on Main Street and that area down there, that's a majority of the parking tickets has been down there. I mean, there's been numerous times that I've walked in Depot 6 or other stores looking for people that are parked in the wrong place. Nobody moves, so we're probably done with the educational part of it for the year. And now the citations, and even the motor vehicle citations, I don't know what it is. People just seem like they don't even care. A lot of my guys are pulling cars over. They're on film before they even get to the window, they get their license. So we're pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, we're done with the educational part of parking and speeding. So that's where we stand. And, everybody in the department is, everybody's good. Everybody's doing their trainings like we're supposed to. And I just think come the first year, as soon as the Bridge Academy goes and the police reform starts, which was supposed to start July 1st, and that's way behind. I just think it's going to be crazy after the first year with the schooling that we have to do every year. It's probably going to be double that. Instead of 40 hours, probably going to be 80 hours. So that's where we're at. Got any questions?
Kathleen, you can lead.
I guess, Mark, it sounds like you've been busy. I think what would be really helpful is, can we get like a document that has all of this listed within the time frame? I'd like start to keep like the understand the statistics more, as we've talked about. Yeah, so that would be great. But the update is really helpful.
Yeah, that was just pulled from dispatch this morning.
Yeah.
But no, we can get something there. And also the daily log is here. Anybody can come in and read the daily log. So that's also available to anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Roger.
Yeah, Mark, during your comment on citations, you said the words "on film," which caught my attention. Are patrol officers wearing body cams, or is this film from the cruiser?
Neither one, Roger. I meant, my guys were stopping cars as soon as they get to the window. The people they stopped, they already got them on camera. So I don't know. This is a whole new phase since everything has started in the last year or so. as soon as you walk up to the car, the guy's pointing his cell phone at you, he's recording you. That's what that was, Roger. But you're right, the body cams and the cruiser cams, those are coming. That's the next thing we're gonna have to look into as well.
Mark, will the body cams be a mandate, or is that something that we're doing because we think it's something that we ought to be doing?
Well, as of right now, they're not mandated by the state, but I'm sure is, like I said, first of the year, as soon as police reform and the post committee, it's probably gonna be a mandatory thing that we're gonna have to look into, but there's already some grants out there for those that Tracy has looked into for us, so, you know, we probably won't have to pay the full road, but, you know, we might have to pay a little bit of it.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks very much.
Okay, Eric, and no questions?
No, sir. We're all set.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
On to the final review of the special permit document for the Foundry. Can I just ask informally, do either of you have much to add to a process that has gone through Jonathan Eichman, our town council, for approval? With the latest drafts, do we have anything to discuss before signing?
Definitely.
I don't. I mean, we read it, we reviewed it. I think some things were amended, or, you know, made sure everything was legally appropriate. Jonathan signed off on it, so I'm fine.
Same for you, Roger?
Surprisingly, yes.
Okay, good.
I've read through the documents, and I think they do it. They do what they're supposed to do. And as Kathleen said, they've been reviewed by town council. And if he's given the documents his approval, they certainly say everything they're supposed to say. So and capture all the findings and conditions. So I don't see any reason to have any question about what's there in these docs.
Great. And just for the public, I will sign this document tomorrow. It'll go to the clerk and will be public record. But just to be transparent about what the document is, basically without reading it, it basically puts into words our findings from the meeting of last week on Thursday, and includes the 6 restrictions that council for the Foundry and Truxor and Express agreed to. Those appear verbatim based on what was read at the meeting the other day. And that'll just exist as a special permit until October 31st, when we will come together and consider a new one. Any other?
Of 22, Derek.
22, next year. Sorry, that's 21. Oh, boy.
Yeah. I think the only technicality there that you didn't express specifically that I'd like to mention is that the 20 days you talked about, that's a 20-day window where if somebody has an issue with the documents, they can file an appeal. After that, the appeal period's over.
Thank you for stipulating that.
Okay. So what's our mechanical step, Eric, with this? Beyond saying we're both fine with the document, what happens?
It's a chair signature. I just wanted to make sure that we were all on board with the draft as written before it gets signed. I'm merely just a representative of the board, but the board's sign off is very important for this being a complete doc. So I'll sign it tomorrow on all of our behalfs, and that'll be complete.
Okay.
That brings us to the end of discussion business items. Onto select board speak. And Roger, I'll give it to you this time.
Okay. Again, shocking. I don't have much. I don't have anything of to do with the select board. I do have something I'd like to put out here for a little assistance from the community. My next door neighbor, Bob Alboni, passed away a couple of weeks ago, and Bob has lived here since 1987. And he was in his heyday, he was an avid hiker and biker, he would physically put me to shame, even in the 5 years I've known him. His family is interested in what they're calling a memorial bench, and I don't have any information. And they've reached out to like the Audubon Society and the Edna St. Vincent Millay organization over in New York State, which Bob had some things to do with. And unfortunately, in both of those organizations, the threshold for being able to have a memorial bench is a $10,000 donation to their society. So this is a kind of a public question. Who knows anything about programs where Bob's family could fund at reasonable cost, I think, a memorial bench, whether it's something in West Stockbridge or perhaps BNRC, because Bob walked a lot of the BNRC trails in his day. So that's kind of an open question. Folks have any information? We don't have to do it here, but reach out to me and let me know what you know, and I'll pass that information along to his family.
You mentioned BNRC, Roger. I'll send an email and just connect you with Narayan Schroeder and see if he, as an insider at BNRC, knows of anything through there that perhaps would be helpful.
Thank you.
Sure. And I didn't hear of his passing. I know he was really dear to you, and I really enjoyed the photos of you guys together that I saw during your campaign. So condolences to you too. It's tough to lose such a close neighbor.
It is.
All right. Kathleen, on to you.
I don't have a lot to add, just a bit of follow up to what Kurt mentioned about the installation that we were hoping to have further along in the process through the Shared Street grant that we hoped but didn't get. So I have a meeting, it's actually next Monday with Turnpark, and it was Grigori at Turnpark who did the original design work for that. So through, I think, just scheduling issues, we haven't been able to, to get together to talk about what next steps might be. Obviously, once we sort of come up with what a real true idea would be, we'd open it up to, to the public so that people can get a sense of what's being proposed. So we're just picking that back up again, as Kurt mentioned.
Great.
Hey, Kathleen,
Mhm.
on that topic, have you been able to get any folks to step forward to be on the beautification committee?
No, and honestly, no. It's been a little bit of a frustrating process. We've had, people say kind of blatantly no. I don't know. I don't really know why. I think that we have to find some other ways to do outreach. I was in, where was I? Oh, I was in Millerton, and they had, I picked up a glossy little postcard about, fundraising and beautification of their downtown, and they restored an old school building. And, I thought, I don't know, that there are people who don't come to these meetings. They may, people who live here in town who might have either time or resources to donate, who just don't know that there's a need. So it would be, I think how to get the word out was really kind of the tough first step.
It is. It's, thanks for keep poking at it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And for me, in the spirit of getting things back on track, made some more progress with the Green Communities Program and getting our first projects registered and funded. We should be getting the first installment in the next weeks. This for the lighting project, which was sort of the first and the easiest proposed, partially funded by National Grid. The rest of it funded by the grant. And then there are some others, and I'll be reaching out to Kurt this week to talk more about his boiler, which I think is a priority for that grant program as it needs replacement. Some movement there, and as it moves forward, as some of the low-hanging fruit gets picked, we'll come back together to discuss more priorities for the town in properly spending that money and making ourselves more efficient. The other thing I wanted to mention and just ask where we are, Marie, with current COVID regulations for town hall and for the town in general. Where do we stand with all of that right now?
The Board of Health still is just suggesting, but not saying we should mandate masks at town hall. I would say, I mean, you know, there's not a ton of traffic at town hall. The library has asked everyone to be masked regardless. And I would say probably about 80 to 90% of the people that come into town hall wear their masks anyway. So I really don't feel there's an issue. People that work there, I mean, I wear mine when I go out in the hall. There's a couple other people that do. So we're just, you know, Earl updates me almost every day I see him, and that's kind of where the Board of Health is in their opinion at this moment. To suggest it, but not mandate it.
Yeah, I had meant to make Earl part of this meeting and I thought he was, and I apologize for letting that slip. Perhaps we could get him on the next agenda to discuss further.
Sure.
I just wonder, I'd like to ask the board, I'd love West Stockbridge to be just a little more proactive, a little more progressive on the issue of COVID, especially as it's coming back. And I wonder if you have a position on this issue. I'll ask Roger first.
Yeah. My personal position is, I'd like to see when I'm in town hall that I'm looking at people who are wearing a mask like I am. If that's called mandating it, I'd be in favor of that.
Kathleen?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that there was something in the paper, I think it was today, that I didn't really get to fully read, but the Tri-Town, I don't know exactly what it's called, Lennox, Lee and Stockbridge, they've taken a pretty strong position that people need to be masked in public, in stores, and I assume in the post office. I shouldn't be quoting from, because I just skimmed it. But I think, and I've always maintained that this thing is not, and it definitely has not gone away. And I think as a town, as much as we can legally do to encourage or mandate mask wearing and social distancing, we should do it.
Great. So Marie, would you mind just conveying to Earl that the board's desire is that we're a little more proactive with our municipal policies with masking? And we'd like to just remain on the more effective edge of our policies for the town. If we need to put them on the agenda and discuss it in person, we can definitely do that at the next meeting.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem, because like I said, most people that come into town hall, I'd say like I said, about 90% of the people wear masks anyway. So I don't think it'd be an issue, but I'll talk to them tomorrow, and if there is an issue, I'll let you all know, but I'm sure it will be fine.
Marie,
Yes?
sorry, I have a quick question.
Oh,
Who's
okay,
speaking?
this is select board speak time at this moment.
Yeah, but I think it's more of an emergency than a question.
We'll get right to you, okay? We're going to go to citizens.
I'm sorry, but there's a chink. There's a chink on the line truck. We're in a pandemic. What are we going to do?
I think we're going to say goodbye. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're gone.
What are we doing?
I can feel the corona attacking me. Help.
All right.
We can listen to citizen speak if people, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Fucking hell, Roger, you look like you should be fucking dead.
But
Yeah, I think we're getting a little inundated
I
here
have,
with
I have a question for you.
ridiculousness.
I have a question about the mask mandate. So
It's not open.
Okay,
no, this is an emergency question because I'm thinking about coming to the town hall tomorrow, and I'm kind of in a rush, but I'm thinking about coming tomorrow, and okay,
I muted everybody. so Eric, if you want to speak, you have to unmute yourself. Or, I mean, I have to unmute you, sorry, hold on.
Thank
Okay.
you. Well, we have only citizens speak, so we will carefully step through that. And if anybody's not here for legitimate citizen speak, Marie, please remove them from the meeting. Would anybody like to speak up for select board speak? Joe Roy.
Okay, let me see.
How's that?
Okay,
Can you hear me okay?
yes.
I just, good job with dealing with that nonsense, sorry. I wanted to thank the board and Kurt especially for removing and disposing the old, merchant sign at, up by where the new sidewalks went in at the exit ramp of the turnpike. Thank you for doing that. And in the light of that, is there any way I can get, reincarnate the idea, or is there any progress going on perhaps a few nice new welcome to West Stockbridge signs? Is that idea still alive?
Still alive. There's sign work I've got to do. It's been a question of time, and I'm
Okay.
pursuing proper drawings and some estimates to see what these will cost. I think we're prioritizing the town hall sign as its own project. And then it's a conversation I think we'll have to have with some, with the public in general about
Sure.
budgets and aesthetics and placement of those signs, but certainly an issue that's on the move. And once we establish the aesthetic for the town hall signs through the various committees and things, I think we'll have a form for other signs.
Okay.
And then we'll roll those out as necessary.
And I thank you for that, very much. The only other thing I could, if you're interested, Marie, I can, the Stockbridge Chamber put out the notice from those tri-town boards that Kathleen mentioned. I can forward a copy of it to you if you're interested in knowing about it.
Sure.
Okay, you got it. I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Oh. Okay, so Heather wanted to speak, but she was hacked. Heather was the one that was hacked. Kevin Sullivan would like to speak. Is that okay? Chair, Eric?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, good evening. I was calling, I am zooming in here with the thought that there would be more residents at this meeting. My intention tonight largely is to make a public apology for basically spending tax dollars in a way that I don't feel is appropriate. And that is to give a little backstory. I acquired some land last June, and for the last few months have been living in a camper on the land, which is in violation of a bylaw. And I recognize that that is an issue in and of itself. For me, the challenge has been not only to get this project moving forward that I am developing on the land, but also to keep a roof over my head. I won't get into the personal challenges that I've undergone as a result of being in that camper. However, West Stockbridge has not had affordable housing, not one affordable housing in 52 years, which is a law. So I'm now in trial headed by Brian Duvall to get me to vacate my land with all of my belongings. Even though I am actively and daily working towards a building permit. I'm about 1 month away. The court has mandated a temporary injunction. I vacate the land and all of my property be gone. Park benches of our town, and I'm pretty sure that none of you want me there either. So it's a bit of a conundrum here in that certain laws like this safe for myself and neighbors. However, it is the exact same scenario that gets permitted when the building application is in. So the whole idea of it being unsafe is ludicrous to me. And quite frankly, I think it's audacious to pursue my eviction of my own land without any sort of support. I think we all could benefit from a little human dignity. And when I reached out to Brian Duvall and explained to him that I'm doing my best and moving forward and looking to keep a roof over my head while I do so, that I would be on the streets, he told me in his own words, get the camper off the property. Now, I've gone through my own agitation. I'm not here to place blame, even though I might be doing so. And if I am, I do apologize. That is not my focus. My focus is to work with the town. The irony here is that I am developing a small affordable housing community. Not for many people, but in a small way, this is my contribution to affect the displacement of the working class that is going on right here. This is a first iteration model project where I intend to create multiple iterations of the same projects to larger scales throughout southern Berkshire County, focusing more in the Great Barrington, Housatonic, West Stockbridge area. I've been in collaboration and conversation with executive directors from Construct to Berkshire Regional Planning. And, and Brian in the court under oath says that I have been doing absolutely nothing to move forward, which is, again, this is ludicrous. He has not called me to ask about my progresses or things that I've been doing. But as I have said, I've been working on this diligently 6 days a week. So, forgive my frustration. And I'm not exactly.
Well, he's frozen, so. Eric, he's totally frozen, so I don't know what you wanna.
Thanks. I mean, I'd love to speak to him. Hopefully we can get his connection back. Roger, you have a hand up? Do you want to?
Oh, wait, Roger. There you go.
Just a tiny bit of background. Kevin and his issue on his land and the issue with the building inspector is not unknown to us. I think Marie has had more than one conversation with Kevin over the months. And just so you know, it is an issue that folks who have the job of dealing with it, like our building inspector, are dealing with. And everything that he had to say tonight, I've heard before, because he's also been talking to the planning board. So Kevin does have some issues. He does own property in West Stockbridge, but I think he's brought his case to, from my personal perspective, to a board that really can't do anything to help him out, because he is in violation of the bylaws, and he's had lots of time, honestly, before Brian did anything. So just an FYI.
Thank you. I was not aware. I'm grateful for a little update. And I just will say, from a policy perspective, because these are conversations that happen weekly, the town is all for pursuing opportunities for affordable housing. There are many considerations for bylaw changes to allow accessory dwellings and things. So this is not a town against affordable housing and innovative housing opportunities, including small ones. But it's a process that's going forward, and I would guess that things need to be under the umbrella of a building permit, even in development. So I agree, we're going to leave that to the experts in this case. but also continue to be for the values that Kevin seems to be pursuing. Of course, we just need to do them properly and legally. So hopefully hopefully he can find a way forward that way, and we can help him further. Anybody else for?
Truck
Oh.
would like to talk.
There you go. Electronic hand. Go right ahead.
That was very upsetting to me. Very, very, very upsetting. This entire summer has been challenging, and it's very difficult to stand up and speak my truth and be heard. But what just happened? Now we have a target on our back. People know where we live. People know where our business is. And I am shook to my core, completely shaken to my core. I don't know what else to say. I was going to say during Citizen Speak, you know, we see people walking around very late at night. They're kids. I grew up here as a kid, you know, to have this type of community where you can enjoy your town and walk around. But now we have cannabis and things like that, standing in front of the restaurant, passing it around. We need more presence downtown so people's securities don't get tripped. We're not always looking over our shoulder, watching our cameras. And I thought it was like very insignificant to bring it up because kids are kids and it's great to see teenagers in town. But what just happened is not funny. It is not funny.
Agreed.
And this is like, for once, I have a loss of words. And you know, I don't have that problem. And I am like upset, like literally upset that someone could come onto a Zoom call and hack it and send messages from you, Eric and Heather, and say that. I'm speechless and I'm scared now.
Well, we need to investigate this as far as we can. Kathleen, I see your hand. In the short term, Chief Portier, are you still on the line with us?
Hold on a second, I can unmute him. You're unmuted,
Yeah.
and so is
Yeah.
Mark.
Well, I would like to denounce what just happened as being shameful beyond belief.
Absolutely.
And I don't need to elaborate any longer, but I think we need to take precautions for our public meetings and perhaps just start our meetings with everyone on mute so something like that can never happen again. And people need to, if they want to speak, they need to identify themselves and they need to say where they live, and they will be shut off immediately if there's ever such carrying on as there just was. It's shameful.
I just want to make sure, Chief Portier, that you witnessed, at least with your ears, what just happened.
I did, and you know, I don't want to say that was awful. I mean, you know, what are they pushing us back to go in person again? So we're not on Zoom. You know, maybe that's something to look at too. But as for tonight, we have coverage tonight. So,
Well, please,
anything you need, Chuck, just call. We're here. So,
and please, with all this in the air, just make your team aware. Just have an extra eye downtown for the foreseeable future, really forever. But
Oh, yeah, it's, yeah, I mean, after that,
Especially in light of this, just,
yeah, no problem. We'll have somebody in there, so.
thank you. And I'm devastated that this is happening in a public meeting in this town.
I mean, anything anybody needs, I mean, you know, feel free to call. I mean, if you look at it, we're all on here. They know who's on here, so, you know, anything, call. I mean, we'll be here, so.
Thanks. Well, we're stuck on Zoom for a little while, so we will indeed coordinate a much better process of giving the floor over. This is the second or third time that there's been kind of a bizarre influx of profanity and things, and we can't let there be another. Anybody else for the citizen speak for now? Or anything to say at all? Lori,
Do we know Lori?
well, we're gonna carefully unmute.
Well, oh, okay.
Hi, Lori Santhe, East Alford. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thanks, go ahead.
Okay. I've been on other calls that this has happened on, and it's very unfortunate. And I'm sorry that this happened to us tonight, to all of us. And I know how difficult it is to navigate this electronic frontier for all of us. I wanted to change the subject for a moment quickly, and I don't know if this is the right place to say this. But to on my property, to avoid attracting bears, I've been, which I had been composting on my land for quite some time. I'm now paying a service to pick up my composted materials. And the thought just occurred to me that it would be terrific if we had a way for residents who couldn't afford to do that, or all of us, to compost food scraps for, to avoid attracting bears and for the sake of the environment. That's all.
Yeah, these are services that and I'd have to do a little more research and would invite anyone that has any more knowledge than I do on the subject. Other towns have had such things, or at least a private operation that does such a thing. We'll take it and look into it.
Okay, I'm not endorsing the private organization that I'm contracting with. I'm just saying if we had the ability to do this at our waste transfer station, that would be fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We shall look into it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. A motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I see Roger seconding. Roll call vote. Kathleen,
Aye.
Roger. Oh, sorry. Roger wants to unmute and has further to say.
Yes, that's all.
Go ahead.
I could see, couldn't unmute, so yes, I second, and yes, I'm an aye.
Okay, and Eric's and I, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.